Well, a very good afternoon to you and welcome here to another interesting episode of the Candid Talk. Well, my name is Ivan Sokinyi. Now joining me to understand and dissect the intrigues of Kenyan politics is none other than Professor Herman Manyora. Prof,
how are you? I'm okay.
Well, I'm okay as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Though the weather in Nairobi is a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
It's not actually, it has never been this way for
young people like us, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can see.
You know, it's already past noon.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the sun around here.
You'll see it. But remember, Africa kills her son. Maybe we'll kill our son.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Prof, Amason Jeffa Kingi was actually declared the Senate Speaker.
Yes.
Prof, what does this mean to the coastal region?
They must be happy that their son has gone that high. The coastal people were really part and parcel of the struggle for independence here with Ronald Ngala. So after him, they have not had a very serious Mijikenda leader. I think Ngala's son lived true to the saying that fire begets ash. So if Kingi can rise to national leadership, it's good for the people of the coast. Yeah. They must be happy. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. You always said that that Raila Odinga is dynamic as the same as politics in this country is dynamic. Yes. Are you seeing a situation whereby Raila is still relevant to the politics of this country, especially the coastal part of the country?
Raila is not anybody you can write off, but people are free to write him off. They did that in 2013. In 2017, he was there with them. They did that in 2017. He has been very much part of our political life in this country. They are free to write him off now.
Okay.
But I wouldn't write him off myself.
No.
Raila is very good at reinventing himself. Of course, we consider age now and so on and so forth, but I would not write him off.
Now, with the rise of Amason Kingi as, let me say, the highest ranking national leader at the coast, what does this mean to the influence of Raila that has been there for all these years?
King is not in the same league with Raila. So how would you be talking about King and Raila in the same breath? They are not in the same league. Yeah.
Sure.
He tried to stop Raila. How successful was he? They are not in the same league. Raila is in his own league. King is a junior player, you know, the politics of the coast.
Prof, make me understand this. Raila's man at the coast who's been able to stand with him throughout this period is none other than
001.
001,
Yes.
Hassan Joho.
Yes.
And of course, Hassan Joho was tipped to be handed the lands ministry should Azimio ascend, of which that dream never materialized, actually.
Yes.
So with Joho out of government, Kingi in, how influential? Make me understand, how is it?
You know, there have been people at the coast. The King is not the first person to be something at the coast. There have been others. You know, politics of a region is not as simple sometimes as you might want to look at it. Joe could continue being influential.
Sure.
King could have staged him. This other guy now, the governor, his name I can't pronounce. I have a problem. Nasir boy.
Nasir.
Yeah, he could have staged Joe and upstage, what do you call him? Kingi. Kingi could be the new kingpin at the coast. It is possible. Yeah. So, but governors are, a senator is not, Senate Speaker, where is he? He's some Turkana man unknown somewhere in Turkana there. Lusaka had to go back to be governor. It's not, sometimes it is not so much the office per se, but the person in that office. But if Senate speakers we have seen is anything to go by, that's just another small job in town. Yeah.
No, Ali Hassan Joho has been tipped as one of the political bigwigs and actually big players down there at the coast, and one who's never lost any election per se. And this time round, it was to be seen whether he made the right step or not compared to Amason Jeffa Kingi's step. Don't you think that this time round, perhaps Kingi managed to beat Joho at his own game?
Anania Mwaboza beat Joe at his first attempt. I think it was a by-election when Hurricane died or something like that. I can't remember. How did Kingi beat Joe? If anything, Joe surprised the country because people had said Ruto will get more votes in Coast, Ukambani, and Western. A lot more than Uhuru got in 2017. In fact, there were people who are saying he could come close to upstaging Raila in those regions like the Coast and Western. Nothing like that happened. The Coast remained behind Raila. In his own Kilifi County, ODM won governorship. So,
But Prof, with Joe outside there in the cold,
yes.
Tell me, who do the coastal people now look up to in terms of national
It depends on what
leadership?
you call out there in the cold. Because Joe could join Ruto. He could join Ruto and be very much part of government.
Sure.
These are politicians. These are prostitutes. A politician is a prostitute.
Come on, Prof. You mean
Anybody coming with money, you know.
you mean with all those number of years and the kind of loyalty and allegiance that Joho has?
There are no permanent friends and permanent enemies in politics. That's a fact, okay? But let's look here this way. Look at it this way also. Who tells you Joho will be willing to be upstaged by King? Joe is also ambitious. He has said he wants to be president. Do you think his interest to be president will be served if he plays second fiddle to Kingi? Allows Kingi to outsmart him, outpace him? Do you think his interest to be president will be served if he joins Ruto? If he's serious about the presidency or a bigger space in the national politics, he will continue playing his politics. And look here, the politics of the coast evolves around many issues like money. Does King have the kind of resources Joe has? Does King have the kind of connections like with the Arab world which Joe has? You see? So there are many factors that may make it very difficult for Kingi. He will enjoy his salary as Senate Speaker and a few perks like a nice car and driver and security. Beyond that, he may be nothing else. Yeah.
No, Prof, I'm saying that Joe is actually in the call right now, and you're saying that perhaps he may join William Ruto. But of course, that is yet to be seen, having proved
you
as
are
one
from
of
Kisi. I can see Ongwai has joined Ruto already. So, you know, you are saying, you know, you are doubting me and Ongwai has already joined Ruto.
No, Ongwai is a different thing altogether.
Why?
You see, Joe has proved to be one of the loyal lieutenants of Baba. So I wonder anyway.
Joe is Baba's son. But even children can go against their parents. You know, Ida said, Joe, this is my son. So, but you see, Joe is a politician. He can read the situation. He will do what it is in his that can serve his interest. He can join Ruto. I will not be surprised. He can go and salute Kingi and tell him, now you are the new man in the cause. Loyalty. We come here to pay homage. But he can soldier on. He can be his own. He can continue fighting Ruto. And therefore get clout for doing that. You know, he's a major player in coastal politics, mainly because of the resources and the connections. Yeah.
Now, Prof, what does the future portend for us and Joe? Because let's take, for instance, you've just mentioned that he's mentioned a number of times there that he's aiming at the country's top seat.
Yes.
Now, with Ruto in right now for these 5 years, and absolutely I'm aware that Ruto will work for 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, does it mean that Joho will have to wait for all those 10 years for him to
Who
come
tells
back
you
again?
Ruto will be there for 10 years? That's not how politics works.
Prof, tell me who is going to beat him in 2027?
On the face of it, yes. That a man who has gone against what he has gone against to become president, it will be imagining too much, stretching imagination too much, even common sense, to think that somebody can beat Ruto in 2027. That is the first reading of the situation. But that's being linear, and politics is rarely linear. These things he has promised people may fail to work. The world can become a worse place than it is today. The economy of the world is doing so badly that you could find you are unable to do even one of the things you promised. And this unga, instead of moving to 70 like they said, it could go to 400. Now, somebody moving you from State House in 2027, even before, can be very easy. That's how politics works. It's rarely linear. But I agree with you. Looking at Ruto, how he has traveled, what he has managed to do to become president, it is stretching imagination too much to think that somebody can beat him in 2027. Assuming everything remains equal. But in politics, it's not always like that.
Prof, are you there for trying to postulate that perhaps we may meet Joho's name in the presidential election of 2027?
Why not? Why not?
And if anyone was to beat William Ruto in the 2027 elections, do you think Joe is the right man to do so?
You know, I've said this, I'm on record. Looking at this country, I will not be surprised if a Muslim doesn't become our president sooner than we think. I've said that, and I'm on record. And as we speak today, the closest bet on that front is Joe. He can take advantage of that. Because if he can mobilize the entire Muslim community in the country and inherit Raila's base and look for a team to work with, because whether you like it or not, Ruto and his team will implement BBI in one way or the other. They have already done it. They are going to implement BBI. And that will mean Joe, if he goes for the presidency, assuming he wanted to, or be deputy president to somebody who is serious, or be the one, he still has a chance. Assuming then again, things have not worked very well for Ruto. But if they worked well, beating him will be a dream. Yeah.
Now, you've just talked of Joe's chances being contributed by the fact that he might inherit Raila Odinga's base, of course.
Yes.
Now, and you previously, during the beginning of this conversation, you said that perhaps you wouldn't be surprised if he joins Ruto right now.
It's possible. All these things are possibilities. Yeah, it's a possibility.
So tell me, make me understand, how does he join Ruto's side?
No, I'm saying, if his eyes are on bigger things, he will be a fool to join Ruto. But if his eyes are not on bigger things, he just want to be relevant, like I'm seeing, you know, these politicians running up and down and joining Kenya Kwanza and Ruto. They just want to remain relevant. Some just want to avoid the cold by being some small thing. They are calling them CAS or what? Chief Administrative Secretary, and such a stupid thing like parastatal or something, just to feel, because they are used to power. They are not like us, who have never tasted power. And so therefore, we are not used to it. And I don't blame them. If you are used to power, that's why you find somebody, a minister, tomorrow is an assistant minister. I wouldn't take it. You find somebody so big from the university. People we work with at the university, they are made ministers, 5 years. They come back and ashika chokwa. Me, I say I can't. Then I realize, oh, once you are used to these good things, you cling on them. Hata kama kidogo unapewa. Mtu amezoea kula nyama na maisha yake yamemwendea vibaya. Hata akitupia mfupa analamba. Hata kama imeanguka chini, anatoa, anaosha kwa maji, analamba. So this is what these people are. However, if his eyes are on bigger things, he wouldn't join Ruto. He would. And again, you know, politics is so, you know, when Moi left in 2002, one of the reasons that made Raila very popular and he won the 2007 election, although he was not crowned as the president, there was this perception in the Kalenjin land that Kibaki was persecuting the Kalenjin. That the people Moi had left in power were removed by Kibaki. And that's why with that anger they supported Raila, whom they call Arap Mibei. And that's how 2007 happened. It is also possible that Ruto may be perceived to be harassing Raila's people, like the Luos. Now, if anybody were to come and be a father figure to them in the absence of Raila, then he could inherit that constituency. Yeah.
Well, Ruto has been tipped as a very tactical and, of course, wise, one of the wisest politicians we have now. Smart, let me say so. And you just said that perhaps beating him in 2027 may not be as difficult as I may think here.
Yeah.
But, Prof, come to look at it, you say that our politics is based on tribal inclinations and so on and so forth. Whether Ruto gives out or rather fulfills the promises that he made to the people or not, surely, will that determine?
It depends on the... I'm saying, look at Sri Lanka. The government that has just collapsed approached the previous election the same way Ruto did, in a populist way. When the governments come in place through a populist move, and they fail to fulfill the pledges, or it becomes very difficult for them to do so, the conditions may be so bad, you may be willing but unable. The people who took you to power may again not understand. So the same way they took you to power, they can send you into exile. And somebody else takes over. You saw them swimming in the palace.
Well, there you have it, saying that Joho's name may appear in 2027 elections, but then without the backing of a number of coastal leaders, we've got Mohammed Ali on the rise, Amason King already there, seen as a national figure down there.
Yes.
Aisha Juma, though she lost, but then
she's still powerful.
Yeah, she's still powerful, and you expect her name to be in this government. Of course, she cannot miss out. There is a UDA governor down there. So, Prof, with such kind of divisions that we're seeing at the coast, how possible is it for Joho really?
It's not easy. Nobody said it is easy. It's difficult. But how has Raila managed? Because unlike Kibaki, unlike Uhuru, and now Ruto, Raila starts with nothing. Uhuru starts with a whole chunk of millions of votes of the Gema community, and then with the Kalenjin, a chunk like this. Raila starts with a handful of Luo votes, but moves across the country, akikusanya kidogo until he faces these guys. 7 million against 7 million or something of that nature. So even Joe, the fractured coast, he may be able to unite it. It's possible, but it's not easy. It's not easy, not at all, because Ruto will be in power. If he was able to empower people like Aisha Juma, Kingi, Mvuria, when he was not in power, you can imagine if he's in power, he could empower them so much that Joho may not even penetrate. That's also possible. Yeah. So it's not easy for anybody. With Ruto in State House, it's going to be very tough for many people who have ambitions on the other side of the fence. Yeah.
If you were to advise Ali Hassan Joho right now, what would you tell him?
If it was my advice, if he has ambitions to be something, stick with Raila. Fight. It will not be easy. Ruto has already shown he's going to clear the opposition, and he's not hiding it. So a few people will be strong enough to remain. Remaining with those few, work your way up, weigh what is going on, see what is going on, keep the government on its toes, be strong, give government space to do what it should be, but when they step on the pavements, tell them, no, go back to the road, and see how the people receive you. If you see Ruto has done so well, and fighting him may be a waste of time, you just give up.
Now that people are telling the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga to relax, let Kenyans alone eat their own tomatoes, that is what they say outside there, would you then advise Joho perhaps to take up the mantle of the official opposition leader in this country?
My friend, it is not easy. It is not easy, even under normal circumstances, to be an opposition in this country when somebody is in power. It's never easy. To be a meaningful opposition, a voice of reason and an opposing voice when somebody is seated in State House, it's never easy. And you can imagine when that person is William Samoei Ruto. To be in the opposition will not be easy. Even for Raila, leave alone Joho. But they will soldier on. They should soldier on in the interest of this country. Somehow they should also be hoping that things don't work the way Ruto wants them to work. And then they take over. It's like politicians quietly wish that the government doesn't succeed. It's bad because if the government succeeds, then the people of Kenya are happy. But a politician who wants to take over is wishing quietly that the government doesn't succeed. You get it? So that they can take over. But it's be difficult. I can tell anybody in the opposition, Ruto being who he is, it will be very difficult for them.
Well, there you have it from Prof himself. Let's wait and see what the future portends for Ali Hassan Joho and Amason Jeffa Kingi, even as some continue nursing their wounds and others continue actually celebrating having been on the winning side. Now, Prof, tell us something about Let's Talk Love.
Let's Talk Love, a channel to identify the things that may make people break families, divorce, friction in the homes. I began with this idea of politics. Let's shine love so that politics does not claim people's jobs, people's families, even people's lives. We need to know that politics is over. Let's have love. And we'll talk about issues. I say my first episode this time is going to be about barrenness. Really life stories of how difficult it is to face childlessness in a marriage. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Let's Talk Love. Visit that channel and subscribe to the Let's Talk channel. That is our new channel here by Professor Herman Manyora himself. Do not also fail to subscribe to our main channel here at Herman Manyora for exclusive editions of the Candid Talk and each and every program that we bring you on board here. With Simon Irungu coming up with the big question, Richard Mwenje, of course, coming in Siasa Brigade and Business Glide, and of course our very own leader here, Jadil Kabiro, coming up with Jadil Kabiro Live. Well, until next time, have yourself a very beautiful day. I've been your host, Ivan Sokeni.